Like Tim, it's kind of interesting. Part of my role in my past life has always been with a remote workforce. In fact, I was with a home health care company. So we had a mobile workforce. So before we called it hybrid or high flex, I just had a mobile. They weren't in the office anyhow because they're in other people's homes. So how do we meet their needs? And that kind of came into this process of how do we get people up to performance to our defined level of proficiency in a timely manner and still have them come into the cultural path and come into the organizational operational path. And so that's kind of where I was trying to set the stage of let's think about what onboarding can do to help recruit, retain from day one on.
Bill, that kind of question you just posed, the first thing that came to mind was clear expectations. And I think that resonates on this slide. And I think that expectations on job function, what from the company itself, your manager, lots of different ways to kind of define that.
The things we'd like to do pre-day zero include forms and filling out the employee profile, all of the stuff that used to happen during those point and click orientation sessions after the bad chicken, right? And we'd like to get that out of the way. The tricky thing we're running into right now is that all of that work happens SuccessFactors HRIS platform, which is driven by the creation of a profile in the system, which is dependent on IT.
So what was set up was basically talent communities. So we'd kind of pair up a person with a experienced employee, and then that employee was in that same talent community to really talk about what new initiatives that were happening in that area, and then overall company type of deliverables and what to expect in the new role.
Yeah, and Carol, that's a really good best practice. Sarah Lorenzo from TTX mentioned about a year ago, and Matt Donovan, who's one of our best instructional designers, reiterate, when we do short videos from different people in the organization, it helps that new hire, that new joiner, learn different people, different parts of the organization, opposed to having it always just come like from a CEO or from a small HR. The reason what she introduces, Sarah said, small organization, everybody who joined only knew her. So she started creating some small little 2, 3, 5-minute videos from different people. So that way, as you got introduced to different parts of what you need to be introduced to, you got to see fresh faces.
Slightly pivoting the question, what changes have we made to the how of onboarding? I think we're getting some of that. We've just talked about that. Anything to add to the how from a technology, a people, a process perspective? These are 4 C's from SHRM. If you're not familiar with that, we'll share out the link afterwards. But the question on the table will be, what are the engagement challenges and the how of the onboarding experience? How do you engage and make the engagement experience relevant? Does it solve a problem for our new employees? What would those problems be?
I think that ties into what Laura just posted too. And I think the question, especially about culture and connection, I actually think, Laura, this is an opportunity to do both. You can pull people together for after hours or optional events in person, but you can also, still do that with the technology aspect. I have seen some really effective uses of Zoom in a social connection with team meetings.
Yes, hello, this is Erin. It's kind of a buffet style situation, right? Yeah, here's an introduction from our CEO about why it's important and what we do here. The landing page on our internal wiki for our DEI area. Here are the employee resource groups. We have a time-sensitive notification that, hey, you've been here a minute. Maybe you'd like to start expanding your network, register for an employee resource group. It's a great way to meet people. So the resources are presented. They're there. But I do think when somebody's just joining an organization, there's so much more potential to engage them mentally and emotionally in that conversation